Hey everybody. Today we're going to kick off Cisco Defense Orchestrator series, and I'm going to do a little bit of an overview PowerPoint presentation. I got a comment from some sales folks asking just kind of put together a slide deck that's a little more salesy before you dive into the deeps with for the engineers, help the sales teams and the executives at organizations kind of understand the why of Cisco Defense Orchestrator. So we're going to kind of hit this a little bit from a high level, and then in the rest of the videos in the series will be very demo heavy. Actually, won't have any PowerPoint presentations in those at all. So today we're going to talk about Cisco Defense Orchestrator, or CDO. You'll probably hear me refer to it for a CDO going forward, but for those of you that haven't heard of this at a high level, it's basically a cloud-based security policy and firewall manager. So now that you understand that, my job here is done. I'm just kidding. We'll dive a bit deeper here, but then we'll also check out the videos like I talked about. So let's see here. Go to the next slide. So why did Cisco develop CDO? What problem were we trying to solve? Well, we got a ton of feedback from our customers about how hard and really expensive it is to manage network security, and it's not getting any easier. So CDO started as an innovation project at Cisco with the objective of addressing these issues. And if you go back, a few years, we just had to secure, the devices within our four walls. Fast forward, and today's networks, extend beyond the office walls. We need security everywhere as we try to secure, mobile devices, remote workers with this whole COVID thing, cloud applications, so. And we can't forget about the data center and the campus WAN networks and all that we've been trying to secure for years. So we have to deploy a lot of different devices in multiple locations, and this adds complexity. For example, ASA at the remote access VPN. For terminating those remote access VPNs, and firepower to protect our crown jewels at the data center, FTD at the internet edge. Maybe it's a small firepower or SD-WAN at the branch, or maybe you utilize a Meraki MX devices at the branch or internet edge. Then you might have a cloud firewall that protects workloads in AWS or Azure. So all this needs to be managed, and they all have their own management console and user interface, and different ways to manage them. And one of the risks is that because all these devices or policies are managed in different places, they could evolve differently over time, causing you to have a disparate policy and ultimately putting your overall security posture at risk. So basically we have, a consistency issue, inconsistent management, policies, objects, etc. So, the two main impacts are, first, it's just cost, making, those changes, maintaining those networks is costly, and it takes a lot of time. You have to schedule maintenance windows to make changes for each device. It requires a highly trained staff that really understands CLI config. Second, is this complexity and inconsistency that we talked about leads to risky changes, mistakes, inconsistent policy, errors, and vulnerabilities. And that is what really scares me. It's the fact that my customers are vulnerable within their environments. I had a customer that we set up CDO for a proof of concept, and they were pretty confident that their NOC was doing a good job maintaining their 200 plus ASA firewalls. And when we got all their ASAs added, we found that, the typical, inconsistent objects, some shadow policies, but the big one is they had one site that had an allow any at the top of their policy. So this was a massive vulnerability, and CDO was able to discover that. So by just providing them some clear visibility, we were able to strengthen their security posture. And it only took about a day and a half to onboard all those devices. Right now, they could see at every device in one console in one place, and they could see all the policies that for all those devices. Right, you just don't get that visibility by going device to device. So this slide shows some numbers that back up everything I've been talking about. I'm not going to read them, but you get the picture. Cisco's done their own research and got third-party research to back all this. So what if we redesign security management tools and utilize the power of the cloud? Think Meraki for security. That is really where we came up with the idea of CDO. Basically, CDO is a policy orchestrator from the cloud that can access and manage all your devices, whether that is Meraki, SD-WAN, or firepower at the branch. Maybe an FTD or an ASA at the headquarters. Maybe a virtual firewall running in AWS. It's very much like Meraki or Viptela, Cisco SD-WAN. We're moving the control and management to the cloud. Now with this, we can scale. We can talk to all these devices, and we can deploy a change, at once. With the click of one button, we can hit all the devices with a policy change or an object change. So we have, consistent policy, consistent visibility, and consistent, easy changes across, my entire environment. And you can see here in this diagram, we've got the Meraki, we've got the SD-WAN. You can see there's plans for Umbrella to come in. That's not there yet. ICE, again, plans for that. AMP, plans for that. So eventually, you're going to see a lot of management options from CDO. So, when we designed CDO, we had 3 guiding principles, and you can see these, during the demo. First, it needs to be simple. We need to help simplify the experience of how you manage these devices moving forward. You should not have to invest in additional resources or spend days for installation or training to leverage the solution. As a cloud platform, clients are onboarded within hours, and within days, clients can be leveraging CDO to perform management across their portfolio of the supported devices. Second, now let me build this slide out. Second, it needs to be, it needs to drive efficiency, really. The objective is to reduce the time it takes to manage your growing investment. We have applied, the ability to drive bulk changes across the most common of, challenges such as policy management and image upgrades. A good example is I had a customer that needed to upgrade the firmware or OS of 40 ASA firewalls that they were managing. And typically, to do this upgrade across all these firewalls, it would have taken them days. Really weeks, honestly, is what they shared with us. We onboarded all these devices. Took us about a day, and within 30 minutes, we had every device upgraded. So that's kind of the power of what we can do with CDO. And then last, leveraging a tool like CDO needs to be effective. We have the ability to check, or we have the ability to do checks and balances across our workflows to help ensure that we are effective in applying changes to your devices. While we can't control human errors, we did provide you with a lot of features to help mitigate these errors. And really even just the smallest of mistakes. Change logs, things like that, so you can go back and see maybe a human error mistake. But we really do make it simple and try to minimize those mistakes. So, key capabilities of CDO that I'd like to highlight first is resolve policy issues. And you'll see this in the demos. You'll see it if you do a POC. As we bring more and more devices into CDO, we analyze all those policies. We try to find inconsistencies or problems within those policies, and we provide you with the ability to resolve issues or optimize policies quickly. Second, one security policy. So just write one policy and deploy it across your environment in a matter of minutes. That's across firepowers, that's FTDs, that's across ASAs, that's across Meraki's. One policy pushed to all. Third, build this out. It's helping you with operational activities and management, such as upgrades or patching of devices, right? Make it faster, easier, quicker. Get time back so that you can spend that doing things that help move the ball for the business. Last is how do you do what we call smart configuration management? For example, how do we track every change that was done, so we know who did the change, when, and then we can always roll back a change, right? So we don't have to back up all our devices. Now we can just say that change that happened last week, let's roll it back. So it's really that easy. So there's a few other slides here that I could go through that kind of get a little bit technical with some features, but honestly, I'm gonna stop here because you'll see all the features like the onboarding the secure device connector and the security analytics and logging SAL and then the migration from an ASA to an FTD. You're gonna see all that in the demos. So I really just wanted to give a high-level overview that highlighted, the why behind CDO. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out all the demo videos that I've done also that are part of this series. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.